I do love recording these.
Me too.
I feel like I have really the most fun on the holiday episodes.
Same.
Because like,
they're fantastic.
we're only talking about
They're
games we like, and it's like the games we like the most.
Yeah. And not like overthinking, like, oh, I gotta like say everything about it. I'm just like, I fucking love this game, man. It's great. Awesome. And then like, oh yeah, the controls are great. It's great. And then it's just like, wrap it up. It's perfect.
And the promise of something new.
Hey everybody, welcome to Pursuing Pixels. My name's Kevin Portelli, and I'm here tonight with John Hines.
Ho, ho, ho.
And Randall Nollery.
Hey folks.
It's the second recording in a night. We're getting loopy.
That's fantastic.
John's throwing us for our first curveball tonight here, but yeah, we're I was gonna say back as always to talk about some video games, but back once again to kind of wrap things up for the year here. And if you haven't tuned in to any of our holiday episodes over the years, basically what we do is we do our top games of the year, but not necessarily that came out this year, just games that we talked about on the podcast over the year. And then we make like a New Year's resolution. We throw out some honorable mentions as well. A little bit of a haphazard affair, but basically just want to give some love to all the cool games we played this year and make some promises for next year that we'll keep or not. So we'll go from there. And I guess we'll just go in the same order that we've always done and kind of snake it back and forth. And I'll kick things off. And I guess I'll lead things off with some honorable mentions here. I think in the past I've kind of saved those for last, but I've got literally half a page worth of honorable mentions written down here. I'm not going to list them all off because it just started getting out of control. But I think the games that I want to mention are the games mostly... Like they could have been on the list, but I just didn't get enough time to really play them. So I didn't feel right putting them on the list. Other than a couple of them were just games I really liked and did play quite a bit. But the first one here that I didn't get enough time to play, partially because I played it over at DJ's, was Animal Well. I only played maybe about a half hour, maybe 45 minutes, an hour at the absolute most of this game. But it's like that neon pixel art. Puzzle-driven Metroidvania, and I just really loved everything that was going on with this game. The only reason I haven't scooped it up already is because there is a physical version being released soon, and there's I'm torn between like if you order it from like one like the site that's or like the publisher that's releasing it, you can get like a limited edition version with like the cover art illustrated by Derek Yu of Spelunky fame, and I'm like, oh, maybe I want that version, or maybe I could just get the regular version like that I don't have to order from a specific website, but nevertheless, I definitely am excited to play more of that game whenever I get around to it. And then another game that I didn't really get enough time to play, although I did put actually a couple hours into this one, but I just like I gushed about it on the podcast and then I just kind of like fell off of it completely. But God of War on the PS4, which I was going to say I think has a PS5 upgrade, but I don't think it does. There's a PS5 sequel, God of War Ragnarok,
right?
Which I want to play that as well. But I was just blown away with like every single second I played of that God of War game, and I really need to go back to that one, especially now that I've got the PS5. Like it's just it needs to happen. I need to play through that game because it was really blowing me away.
Good excuse for it. Yeah, exactly. And then two games that I did get a chance to put some decent time into, although I, for whatever reason, fell off of both of these, like kind of right before finishing them off, and both kind of in the same, not series, but from the same developer, Blaster Master Zero, and then Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2. Hell yeah.
They're both from Inti Creates, and I got like almost all the way to the end of both of them, and just kind of like, not necessarily hit a wall in the challenge department, but just like died enough times where like I didn't feel like picking it up again and like, replaying that same section. Like just whenever I would boot up my Switch or whatever, I just felt like playing something different instead of replaying that same section. So I just never got back around to that, polishing those off. But I still really, really like those, especially Blaster Master Zero. They're both great, but Blaster Master Zero is phenomenal. Gunstar Heroes, I just want to give a shout out to because I played all the way through that game solo for the first time ever solo.
Game of the year 2025.
Together.
It can be it.
But yeah,
That was just a blast to play through that game, and I kind of shocking to think that was Treasure's first game.
Yeah,
out the gates, like that's just nuts.
Granted, they had been at Konami putting out bangers there for a while.
That's true. Yeah, it's not like they were just like,
but yes.
fresh out of high school or anything. But still, just an absolute masterpiece.
It is
on the Genesis.
Agreed.
And I've got a few more here. I'm just going to rip through these real fast. Marsupilami Huba Venture. This was just like a 2.5D, like ripped straight out of the Donkey Kong Country Returns / Tropical Freeze DNA, but it's just a really great one of those. I mentioned last week and a few weeks in a row now, but Crash Bandicoot 4. I really have been impressed with what they did with that game and kind of like bringing that series forward, even though there were like a ton of spin-offs on like PS2, GameCube, like all of the eras, like kind of like Sonic. They've just done like a million of these different iterations of Crash, but they kind of like brought it back to number 4, and it feels like justified that it's called Crash Bandicoot 4. And then just one other game to mention is Tinykin. It's kind of like a 3D platformer meets Pikmin hybrid. There's no combat at all to the best of my knowledge. Like it's all just like puzzle solving and running around and just using like your different various like Pikmin type Tinykin creatures to solve puzzles or trigger different events, and just a really cool 3D platformer. But I guess on to my actual top 3 here. I don't know if I have an actual order here, but I guess I do actually. So I take that back. I'm going to start with my number 3.
Yeah.
And that's going to be Monomals. This is a game that's like a 2.5D platformer fishing game, and also has like a music creation element to the game that I haven't explored at all, other than like the little tutorial that it makes you do the first time around. But I just really love this game. It was originally released on Apple Arcade. And when I talked about it on the podcast, I was like, this just feels like it could have been made by Nintendo. It just has so much personality, so much energy, like just all the little touches. Like, it's 2.5D. It's just super colorful. And like, there's like there'll be like a cameraman fish in the background, like following your character around. And like, you can see that action like on these like TV screens in the background. Like, I don't know, the world just feels so alive. And I don't know, it's just such a cool game with a unique, mechanic. The challenge is just right. Like it's really not that difficult, but it's not a cakewalk. It's just perfect. Like it's the exact game I'm looking for when I'm just looking to sit down and like relax and have fun with a video game. This is like exactly what I'm looking for. It's perfect. Just really, really love that game. And then my number 2, as always, I got to do a little bit of cheating here where I don't have like an actual game, although I do have one to like lead the pack. I feel like this is maybe a little bit of recency bias, which I feel like I suffer from a little bit on all of these. Like,
it's natural.
I feel like my top 3 always has like a game that I just recently talked about. And I'll save the game that's going to lead the pack for a little later, because it wasn't one that I talked about recently, but I've been on a big kick with these Capcom arcade shooters lately. After picking up the Capcom Arcade Stadium. In particular, I talked about like the 1940 series of games, all 5 of them, although the very first one's a little bit rough around the edges. I was about to record a video for that one the other night, and I was like, you know what? This game's not worthy of recording a video for. I was like, I'll do a video for the other ones because I want to give them a firm recommendation. But this one is like, it's cool to see where it came from, right. But it definitely is. The other games are much better, but like, Eco Fighters is another really cool one. I'm trying to think. There's a ton of them. But the game that is going to lead the pack that I don't actually know if it was ever an arcade game, and but I know it was on the Dreamcast, Cannon Spike.
Oh yeah, baby.
You actually brought this one to the table, Randall, and I'm so glad that I, number one, bought this game when it didn't cost a fortune, and that I had it in my collection and was able to dust it off. And that, like I said, that you gave me the nudge to do so, because, man, I haven't had so much fun with a shooter. That almost, I feel like, re-sparked my interest in like these arcade shooters, and then just getting this Capcom Arcade Stadium collection just like opened up the floodgates to be like, oh man, I forgot how much I love these kind of games.
Perfect pick up and play, like distillation, right? Like just pure arcade energy. I love those games, and it's awesome stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so and Cannon Spike, just like to give it like a little more praise, like it just has oozing with so much personality.
Yes.
It's from Capcom, and they're just like bringing in a ton of different characters from their other franchises, and I don't know, it's very unique, one of a kind game that is easy to recommend. And then my number one game, which is also going to suffer from some recency bias, you guys might see this one coming, Excite Truck. This is the best game I have played in maybe since we started the podcast. Like this game, at least in terms of like a AAA game, because I love a lot of these indie games and stuff, but in terms of like a AAA game from like Nintendo or any of these big party, publishers or, the people who make the consoles, this is like the best game I've played from any of them in the longest time. Like I love Excite Truck so much. And the more I've thought about it, I almost want to compare it to Wave Race a little bit. Like the way that like you're constantly like reacting to the terrain, even like in a totally different way, but like Lonely Mountains Downhill has that a little bit, but like the way and then also the way that like because you have to play with the motion controls, it's like a little bit imprecise, and it kind of like leans into that feeling a little bit. Like the way you had to like kind of, you'd think you were in Wave Race 64, you'd think you were going to like clear the top of a wave, but you just barely clip it or something, and it would change your trajectory, and you'd have to tweak your steering a little bit. Like this game has all of that, especially because you're like hitting these actual like tokens on the tracks that change the actual layout of the level. Like it'll raise up a mountain right in front of you, or drop down a valley right in front of you, or I don't know. It's just the sense of speed is incredible. I just can't say enough good things about this game. Like if you like arcade racing games, and if you don't mind the fact that like the place you come in isn't like the primary goal, it's just about like racking up points and stars and stuff like that. Like you can still ace the level without coming in first, even though it's very difficult to do so, but you can. So it's kind of weird to play a racing game where like racing isn't the top priority, but at the same time, it's just so fun to play. I don't know. I really want to get a chance to play this like multiplayer, and I really would love to see a new entry in this series, or Wave Race for that matter.
Real.
But like, I just love that the kinetic energy or something of this game is just, it's tangible. And I don't know if it's because of the motion controls, or I don't know if it's because of the less polished graphics make it feel faster. I don't know what it is, but it's amazing. I love this game.
Heck yeah. I have to buy it.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I'll leave it there for my gush fest here. And why don't I kick it over to John for your wrap up here.
Yeah, I'm going to go a little bit off of what our like form has been in prior years, just because I've been wholly unable to like make a decision about this. I've whittled down a list of 12 games into a list of 8, but there's going to be a very like gradual shift from honorable mentions into my game of the years that's going to be basically imperceptible.
A nice gradient.
Yeah, I'll start it off with a couple of games that were actually either sequels to or continuations of prior game of the years that I had. And those were Outer Wilds, Echoes of the Eye DLC, and Hades 2, where these were both games that were really good and really incredible, and I loved every second that I played with them, but I just didn't put enough time into either of them for them to like either be fully fleshed out in my head, or in the case of the Echoes of the Eye DLC, like I didn't beat it. So I think that's kind of the main reason why that didn't like stick with me as much as the base game did. But even still, every single second of like doing puzzles in Outer Wilds is just an unbelievable thing that I've never seen any other game do or like accomplish in the same way that game does. And then Hades 2 is just a solid follow-up to like a game that I adored. So like those were really good continuations of games that I just wish I had like put a little bit more time into.
Yeah.
And then another pairing, there's going to be a theme of twos in this, but I had gotten Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate because I didn't have a system that could play Monster Hunter Wilds, and then I got a system that could play Monster Hunter Wilds. So I was in this place where I was bouncing between those two games for a bit, where, you know, I was playing the oldest Monster Hunter game that I had owned as well as the newest Monster Hunter game, and just like getting the best of both worlds and the worst of both worlds simultaneously.
That's fair.
Where like I really loved all of the stuff that like 3 Ultimate did before, you know, like optimizing it and making it more accessible for more people to enjoy the series. And then Wilds was so much fun and I put a lot of time into it, but there were just so many like arguable quality of life improvements or like simplifications of like game mechanics that I just like found myself wanting like the older versions of the game. But that's kind of the nice thing about a long running series like Monster Hunter, is that each individual title offers such a unique experience that I really do think that there's like merit in going and playing through the entire series and kind of zeroing in on like, you know, what is the title in the series that speaks to you in terms of that, because they all do so much different things and like on a kind of very like small gradient, like from title to title. And right along that theme, I played Disgaea 2 and loved it. And that was the exact like sweet spot for me where it's like, all right, we've ironed out some of the jank from the original Disgaea, but we haven't bogged it down with like the like unlimited systems that the series eventually came with. But like I put a lot of time into that, and it was such a good comfort game to just kind of unwind and play, and like there was so much to do in it that, again, I didn't put a ton of time into like accomplishing a lot, but I put a lot of time into just playing and enjoying.
Absolutely.
And then the last honorable mention game that I have is Roller Coaster Tycoon, which is
nice.
God, what a perfect game! when I replayed it this year, I was like, I really loved that game when I was a kid, and I wonder how it holds up. And coming to it as an adult and just knowing so much more about how any game functions as opposed to being a child who's encountering it for the first time and is just building roller coasters that launch and explode. Like,
definitely.
Treating it as an actual like business management sim that also you can build roller coasters in. Like, it's such an impressive game, and it's so unbelievable that it came out when it did and how well it still holds up to this day. Like, it was such a joy to play that game again, and I'm so glad that it has so much more depth now that I've revisited it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So with those honorable mentions out of the way, I only have 2 games left for my game of the year, just because everything else was in such a dead heat of like I couldn't pick to make it an even 3 that we have in the past. So I've just got 2 games left, and the first one of that is Hardspace Shipbreaker, which is the first person demolition, zero gravity, capitalist dystopian simulator game that I just loved every single aspect of it. Like the story, the setting, the mechanics of it, the way that you would disassemble all of these ships in slightly different ways. And like the overall vibe of it was just so fun to do, and go into every single session was just a really fun thing. And having played, Outer Wilds, which had a lot of gravity physics puzzles game, like it was a really nice transition, and it felt really natural to just kind of navigate and move around in what might be a more disorienting space. So like that was a really fun time that I just I can't recommend that game enough. It
seems so one of a kind too. I did grab that on sale.
Yeah,
Like it just
really
sounded
special.
so interesting. Yeah.
I knew you liked it, but
seriously.
I don't think I registered that it was like that you liked it that much. So that piques my interest a little bit more here.
Absolutely. And then my game of the year, maybe number one, maybe not. Who knows? Nothing. Everything is fake. But Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time, the long-awaited sequel to a game that I've adored for so long and that I never really thought would get a sequel like this, and such a full and complete sequel. This is a game that I've talked about it on the podcast, but I don't think I've talked about it in respect to like how much I've played this game, because it is just a perfect pick up and play game where there is never really anything to get stuck on. Anytime you want to do something or go somewhere, you are advancing any one of the like myriads of systems that there are. All of the lives are so like well crafted in how they feed into each other and help you progress further in them. Like, it's just such a satisfying game, and the way that they added like a kind of open world Breath of the Wild game that could have been its own sequel, but it's just 1/3 of the game, as well as like the dungeon crawly and the roguelike section and the town builder Animal Crossing house like decoration section. It's
bonkers.
I could not have asked for a better sequel to a game I adored, and like I've barely scratched the surface of it, and I've put in so many dozens of hours into this game already, and there's only more to do, and I couldn't be happier.
Ugh. I love that, because I believe at one point you even like we lamented like, oh, this game looks like it's canceled, or like maybe not canceled, but it was just kind of like, oh, it looks like this game just got lost in the shuffle.
For a couple of years it felt that way.
Yeah.
So the fact that it not only, came to light and then ended up being as good as it is, or at least, that you ended up liking it that much, that's awesome.
Good year
Single player MMO, baby.
It's the best.
Yeah, seriously.
Without those other pesky players. Yeah. All right.
Well, yeah, why don't
I can talk about video games. I already lied because I said that I'd only have 3 honorable mentions. And I'm like, I played and talked about video games on this podcast. I don't have the best memory, but I know there was more than this. So well,
thankfully, John keeps that spreadsheet up for us, which again, thank you, John.
God,
and yes,
seriously,
I'll
John.
try to remember to put a link in the episode description here for where you can access that as well.
Yeah, no, it's expansive and it's a lot of work. So thank you,
We
John.
talk about a lot of games.
We
Our
talk
memory
about a
could
lot
not
of games.
possibly remember all the games we talk about.
Especially when we explain games by relating them to other games. Yes. Okay. Honorable mentions. I'm actually going to talk about 4 honorable mentions. I want to talk about some shmuppy kind of experiences that I thought were real standouts. I've got kind of a few of them here to rip through. Night Striker Gear was one I talked relatively recently, but it's just such a me kind of game. This like super scalar, fast as hell, like shmup, like, but based on end of the level decisions. You get to choose your pathway, and then like every run through the game's unique, and it's super kinetic, and it looks really cool in like a souped up Sega Saturn kind of way, and gives me an excuse to play with my arcade stick and have that feel fantastic. And I'm always a fan of these sort of experiences, and I'm glad that they the powers that be are catering to me with games like this and games like Drainus, which we had mentioned earlier, but I talked about earlier on in the year is a game I played and loved for the similar reasons of I played it on the arcade stick. It immediately like called to me. I love the visuals in that game. I love how they like brought in a little bit of like story element to it as well as you're playing through, and the replayability again of a game like that as kind of like a horizontal shmup, but there's a lot going going on, but at the same time, it is at its core just a really good widescreen horizontal shmup, and there's not enough of those being made these days, and I appreciate that a lot too.
Yes, echo every single thing that you just said there. Yeah.
And then Cannon Spike was on my list already.
I was worried.
Well.
I was worried I was going to steal that from you.
Nope. That's why I didn't say as much about it. It's like Cannon Spike is like, because I, was getting big into Dreamcast stuff as I had my retro setup, way more like in place as of the beginning of this year. So I tried to delve more into some of that stuff on purpose and pulled Cannon Spike out, and I was like, oh shit, this is just fantastic. Like I'd like dabbled with it and obviously seen clips in the past, and anything with Capcom's label on it, even though they weren't the core developer of it, is going to catch my interest. But it, what's it? Psycho is the
I think it's Psycho,
and they're fantastic too, with a lot of their shmups historically, and just the arcade energy of Cannon Spike, the like little scene by scene levels of like it's like a little arena fighter, but in like a little
beat 'em up arena or something.
Beat 'em up, but like with guns in small settings. Turns out that feels really good, especially when again it's multiplayer focused at its core. Kind of like you were saying, Kevin, you want to play some of these things multiplayer. Cannon Spike definitely calls out for that too. And Tina and I did play a bit of multiplayer on that and felt good. And I feel like there's just enough like next level mechanics to these three games that it really just sucks you in on that level, right? It's not just a straight ahead, hold the button down and shoot things. There's a lot of bit more nuance than that.
A little bit, yeah, exactly. And the difficulty too in all these games is like spot on. It's like it's hard, but it's not too hard. It's like you can make, even on your first run, you're going to beat a few levels and like, okay, let's see how far I can get next time. It's not just like, oh shit, I can't even get past this first mini boss. Like, forget it. I'm never going to beat this game,
Which is uncommon.
Like perfectly tuned. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of games these days, which is fine, are designed where like ultimately it's going to let you go on the ride. And, if you stick with it, you're probably going to beat that game. But with some of these sort of games, it's meant to be you're learning the game, you're going to run into a wall, and you're going to want to try it again. And not even necessarily from just a pure memorization perspective, but more like I'm understanding the mechanics of the game more deeply.
Let me try a new approach.
Yes, and that feels real good, and it's a satisfying loop.
Big time.
Last honorable mention is Sonic Racing Crossworlds. I think this game is a very good kart racer. I gushed about it before, and I have not had as much of a chance to go back to it. I have like a handful of times, but for as good as that game is, I wanted to make more time for it since I spoke about it on the podcast. But it's great, and I've checked in on it, and they've released new characters and new courses, and it's been a big success for Sega. So it seems like something they're going to be supporting for a while, as it's kind of its own Mario Kart-esque kind of platform, as it were. And I think it deserves that treatment. I think it's doing a lot of unique things in the sense of speed and all the different modes. If you're someone that's interested in Mario Kart but wants something, with a little bit of a different flair to it, I think Crossworlds is legit. I think it's a very good racing game.
Nice. That's great to hear, yeah.
All right. Top three. Let's start with number 3. I did not beat this game, but I kept coming back to it. It's been stuck in my pocket, literally analog pocket, all year, and it is Castlevania Aria of Sorrow. It is as someone that's been a Symphony of the Night stan forever. Like, to me, like this it has those vibes to me. I've played other Castlevanias, I've played other Metroidvanias, and like this is the Aria of Sorrow is fantastic. It is. Heck yeah. It is a console game that is on a portable system, effectively, and it is great. It is on the same tier as your Metroid Fusions and your Zero missions and those sort of experiences. And, you know, I am loving it. And I like to the point where, you know, I kind of consciously have not taken it out of the pocket. Like that is the Aria of Sorrow machine until I see credits. And I've launched it multiple times where I haven't talked about it on the podcast as well. Man, like I love that game.
Hell yeah.
I love the sense of exploration. Awesome. I love the combat. I love the feel, and I love the visuals of it.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I've heard a few people stack that game up right alongside Symphony of the Night, if not,
I think it's
put
fair
it above. To do. So I definitely need to dig into that one at some point.
It's great. And honestly, if you can, even if you have to play it by emulator or, you know, on a TV or whatever, I think it holds up.
Yeah.
Advanced Collection is not a bad way to play it.
Hey, right. Exactly. That didn't even come out that long ago. Those collections.
Yeah. One thing that Konami's still doing right. Some of those collections that they've put out have been pretty solid.
Yes. To at least make some of those games available again. Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Playing it on my double pack. All right, number 2 is Luigi's Mansion for the Nintendo GameCube.
Yeah,
this one
nice
is just like, you know, there's a heart component here where, you know, I played this with Fiona. This was our experience together, but more than just that, it's a, you know, like a 6-7 hour like contained experience that I could play through, and it's so unique. In its, you know, physicsy, goofy gameplay, and it's like click, you know, point and click adventure, but you're actually moving your character around, not having to use the cursor, and without quite that level of ambiguity in what you're supposed to do, but still some where you can play with the systems a little bit and kind of play with these given dioramas. And once again, small level design. I keep coming back to this over and over again. Like, give me the small crafted little level area that you can, you know, you've crafted this experience. Once you go through this door, it doesn't go on forever. I can more or less see the whole thing, or if I'm scrolling a little bit, that's fine too. And, you know, either the puzzle solution or the ghost I need to suck up with my vacuum, or ice first and then I suck them up if they're a fire, and whatever else. It's all self-contained, and like, what a cute game. It's not a perfect game, but I enjoyed the hell out of playing Luigi's Mansion. I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, not to sidetrack, but I almost mentioned, I don't think I ever even really talked about it on the podcast, but Luigi's Mansion 3 for almost the same exact reason. Playing it with my nephew. I'm just having so much fun, and that game even has some co-op elements.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, there's like, that series is just great. I'm so glad that it's kept going even after that first one. I don't want to say flopped, because it even had like the player's choice and everything, but I feel like it was like for so many people, it was like a letdown at the launch of the GameCube, because it wasn't a Mario game. And it was not only wasn't a Mario game, but it wasn't like you were playing as Luigi in a Mario style game. It was like you said, it's almost like a point and click adventure meets a Resident Evil game with with a Nintendo twist. You know, it's like, which is really
great.
Cool. It's like, it's really one of a kind, and it's awesome that we've gotten 3 of them. You know, and hopefully we'll get more of them in the future.
No, like I said before, like, you're totally spot on. Like, I was there, waited outside for the GameCube launch, and I did not buy Luigi's Mansion because the reviews were tanking this game because it wasn't those things, you know. And now in retrospect, like, shit, I should have just bought that game. Like
this is a really creative, original game. Yeah.
A unique experience, but that's not what the gamers wanted at that
time. This is not your father's Luigi's Mansion.
Okay. Number 1 is Yakuza 0 Director's Cut.
I knew it.
Yeah,
I knew it.
It's a little conspicuous that I hadn't brought it up yet, considering that I talked about it on like 5 or 6 episodes. So it's, you know, again, resolution game wins out, as we were talking about a little bit before we recorded. I don't know. I guess I have a habit of doing this. I'm not doing a good enough job picking games that I wouldn't like, or whatever, or would challenge me, I suppose.
No, it's good.
That's a good thing. Yeah, it's a good thing.
But I tried to at least pick something that wasn't in my natural comfort zone and not the type of game that I would normally gravitate towards, but I was always interested in, which Yakuza is. Sega heritage, of course. I was into all the Sega of it, but even still, not, being more of an RPG and story focused thing, not always what I gravitate towards first. But I'm like, okay, let's use the platform here. Let's take advantage of this process to force myself to really play one of these, the spiritual successor to the Shenmue series. And they've made a gajillion of these Yakuza games now, and it seems like a lot of online people I respect and some of these offline people I respect, like you, John, have a big love for this series. So I need to check this out. And I love playing Yakuza 0. I put like 50 hours in. I'm only in chapter 5 still. I looked it up. I'm like, oh shit, there's like 20 some chapters.
Holy shit. Oh my God.
Whoop. But
there's so much to do.
That's the thing. Is there's a million things to do. It's a goddamn sandbox. It's like if Grand Theft Auto has its own sense of humor, but those aren't really my, go-to games. But this, is a sandbox, in the city, and you can go and fuck around and go bowling or go,
play Space Harrier.
Play Space Harrier, yes. Or Outrun, or a very strange, phone mini game where you're trying to get a girl you've never seen out on a date. And, but it's also kind of like it's almost like a Wii pointer kind of mini game of sorts, where you're trying to like line it up at the proper moment. And I'm like, this is just so. This game is so like innocent, despite the very adult subject matter, and that's such a cute combination of factors. And it's a beat 'em up. Besides that. At its core, which of course, as someone that's chosen things like Streets of Rage 4 as previous Game of the Year games, is definitely something that I'm into, and I have not played enough 3D beat 'em ups. So love it for that too, let alone that there's two characters that are both very compelling in their fun ways, and all the, not takes itself too seriously, silly cutscene stuff. Yeah, I'm having a blast, let alone it's set in like 80s Japan, and that's super fascinating. I could say a lot about it. I don't want to be done playing either Yakuza 0 or Aria of Sorrow, so sorry, folks. I'm probably going to continue to play both of those.
I was going to say, hopefully we'll hear more. Hopefully we'll hear more about it as you continue to polish off the rest of the 75% of that game that you haven't gotten to yet.
I bought it digitally, so I don't have to take the cartridge out, so that's a major factor in my favor that way, too.
Yeah, seriously. Heck yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
So what do I do? Do I do mine now? Do I do the resolution?
Yeah, I was just going to say, we're just wrap it back around the other way. Yeah. So we're getting our resolutions for next year, which apparently the pressure's on, Randall. You got to pick another slam dunk here, man.
I think I've got one.
Ooh.
So it's another one of those where it's a game that's always been on my radar, actually game series, but a game in particular that's always been on my radar, but again, is not something that I would just naturally go and grab and play. And there was a couple of games that I kind of hee-hawed about which way to want to go, but I went with Dragon Force for the Sega Saturn, which to follow up on my previous pull a rare.
Like Kevin and I are both like, what the hell is Dragon?
What game is that? I'm like, it sounds vaguely familiar, but it also sounds just like a generic like fantasy game.
Well, yeah, it does sound like a generic fantasy game. Dragon Force is a real-time strategy and role-playing video game developed by J-Force and Sega and published for Sega Saturn. Ooh. And so Working Designs was the one that did the translation and brought it over to North America.
Okay.
But this is a very unique game where you control a massive, 100 sprite army and go across battlefields in like story elements, and you can choose one of 8 like ruler commanders that all have their own unique forces and ways of fighting. So yeah, think strategy game, but like more real time and execution along with story elements.
What if Advance Wars was a Muso?
Yes.
Good God,
Not too far
so
off.
many
Sweet.
sprites.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
this looks insane.
Yes. Yes.
It's like a Dynasty Warriors almost.
Yeah.
I know it's not that type of gameplay, but like just seeing all those sprites.
Yes, correct. So this is definitely my bullshit, but I have never played it. I own it.
Hell yeah.
Never played it. And I have my Sega Saturn hooked up. It's another one of those like Panzer Dragoon Saga where I'm like, I need to play this game. I have to make myself play this game. This is one of the games that's most unique for Sega Saturn. And I have it. There's no excuse. That's why it's my resolution game.
Nice. No, that's awesome.
It
looks really cool.
I felt kind of bad about, not giving my resolution game, especially in comparison to hearing Randall like talk about how much he loved Yakuza every like time he would bring it up. I was like, God damn it, I have not done enough on mine. Like, I liked Umineko When They Cry, but I barely put any time into it compared to how long that game is. So I'm going to give myself 2 resolution games as penance for this coming year. And that's also a cop-out because I just also couldn't, like my honorable mentions, couldn't whittle down the list at all. So I am going to play in 2026 Death Stranding, a game which is the most John game that could possibly be. Is like, what if it was Metal Gear, but it was about infrastructure? And the other game I'm going to play is Deltarune, which is I've played the original Undertale on MacBook back when it came out. That's how long ago it was.
Wow.
So
amazing.
I am excited to play at this point 2 chapters. I actually have no idea how many chapters. I was
Definitely at least a couple of them out. Yeah.
I think there's like 4 of them out now because I thought they released like 1 and 2
as
initially.
Got
and
it,
then
and
they
then
did
2
2
and 3.
or 3 and 4
3,
is like the next when the Switch 2 came out, I think.
Which I was doing the same thing with Kentucky Route Zero, where I was like, oh, I'll wait till all the episodes are out before I play it. And then I didn't do that with that either. So I was like, all right, well, why don't I just start now? Because I know I'll like it. I know it'll be really interesting. So Death Stranding and Deltarune, it's what I'm going to be doing in 2026.
Man, a little double whammy.
that.
I've heard great things about Death Stranding 2 as well. Even the people that didn't like 1 seem to have come around on 2 a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
well, what about you, Kevin?
yeah, I'm a little bit torn. I was tempted to cheat a little bit and do something like God of War that I mentioned and my like honorable mentions where I was like, I did put like 2 or 3 hours into that. I was like, I feel like that's like a little cheap as like I've already played it a little bit. I mean, I want to try to see it through, but like that feels a little bit cheap. Another game that I was considering is Cocoon. I just picked that up in physical form on Nintendo Switch, which is probably not the definitive way to play it, but I was just like, whatever. It was on sale for $15, and it's from the I don't know if it's the same exact studio, but it's some of the people at least involved with like Limbo and Inside. And I played a little bit of it on Game Pass and thought it was awesome. But I think the game I'm going to pick, and in a little bit of a way, it feels like I'm leaning into the same vein of just like picking a huge AAA game. But now that I've got my, like I did last year with Uncharted 4, but now that I've got my PS5, and I've just been, we talked about it a little bit before we started here. I'm going to dive into that Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate or whatever it's called.
I like it.
I don't know. I've never played Final Fantasy VII itself other than maybe seeing a little bit of it in action. I've listened to podcasts talking about it here and there. I've tried to keep myself somewhat spoiler free, but within reason, I'm like, okay, I'm probably never going to play this game all the way through. So I'm not going to totally leave myself in the dark because I'm interested in it, you know? But I don't know if I'm going to like try to play the original a little bit before I dive into this one or dive into the remake and go backwards. I don't know which way I'm going to go, but nonetheless, I just want to try to like give myself that extra little nudge that I need, kind of like you were saying, Randall, like something that I want to play, but it's not fully in my wheelhouse, which is usually what I try to do.
Yep.
Although Uncharted, I kind of went for because I was thinking like, okay, I loved 1, 2, and 3, and I never really gave 4 a fair shake.
Yeah,
but
been a while too. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's just like I love this series, and I've never like played this one, or in this case, I like want to love this series, but I just I don't. It's so overwhelming. There's so many games, so many spin-offs, so many whatever. Different. But I've heard, yeah. And I'm not the hugest fan of a turn-based strategy and random battles and this and that. And this new remake seems like it kind of alleviates all of that. Yeah. So, but on the other end of the spectrum, it also seems like it fleshes out, a game that was already long and says, hey, why don't we take that and stretch it out into 3 games that are twice as long as that. Yeah. So who knows? Who knows if I'll see it through? I doubt, but you never know. Sometimes a game just sinks its teeth into me and I can play more than I expect to. But nonetheless, I just want to have some frame of reference for Final Fantasy VII, whether it's the remake or the original. I just don't want to be I've heard somebody talk about it on a podcast and that's all I know about it. Yeah. I want to have a little hands-on with it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's a great call.
Yeah. And I'm just curious to see how something like that with Square's production values will look on the PS5 on current gen hardware. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Heck yeah. But I don't know, anything else we want to throw into the ring before we wrap things up for not only the evening, but I guess for this year here as well?
Let's call it a year.
We made it through.
We did. Yeah. Despite all odds. Yeah. we made it through and so did you. Congratulations. Yeah. Nice. Keep it up.
Yeah.
No honestly, doubt about it.
Please.
No doubt about it. Yeah. But yeah, I guess we can just wrap things up there for, like I said, not only tonight, but for the year here. And until next go around, we'll catch you. Man, I'm losing my train of thought here, but I'm forgetting how to wrap up an episode. Until next year, until next week, whatever you want to call it. Until next time we release an episode, we'll catch you then. And until then, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, brother.